Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Shorty and today I'll be teaching you all about the Specialist package. Now, not just the basics, but how it works, and I'll share some tips and tricks for how to get the most out of it. Now, I've been playing with it for the last 10 days since the game came out, and you guys know I was a huge fan of the Specialist package in Modern Warfare 3, and I was super psyched to see it back, especially with the massive selection of perks, we have in Ghosts, because it can really lead you to some fun decisions when you're setting up your class. But anyway, so the way it basically works is somewhat similar to Modern Warfare 3, but still quite different. You first select 3 individual perks, just like in Modern Warfare 3. The numbers that appear next to each perk on the Specialist screen down at the bottom left show you how many kills you need to be awarded that perk. The way this is calculated is by the number of points the perk is actually worth, so for example, Focus is worth 2, and then adding 1 to it, so it takes 3 kills to earn the perk. The same logic is then applied to all of the 3 initial perks, or however many you select. Once you get your initial perks, you'll need 2 more kills to earn your Specialist bonus. Now in Modern Warfare 3, your Specialist bonus was simply all remaining perks. However, the huge selection in Ghosts kind of makes sense that they've only limited it to 8 points that you can spend on any perks you want for your Specialist bonus. Regardless though, whichever perks you select, you will be awarded all of the perks in the Specialist bonus at once. However, it's very important to understand that when you get your Specialist bonus depends on how expensive your initial perks are. Okay, so let's talk about some strategies and how to actually get the most out of this. Just to get it out of the way first, if you're curious about Hardline and how it affects Specialist, it only decreases the kills you need for your first perk. So, all following perks and the Specialist bonus are awarded after the normal amount of kills. Therefore, Hardline is hardly worth the perk point because all you really save is 1 kill at the very start of the streak and that's it. The first thing to realize is that the initial perks can cost any number of points, while the Specialist bonus are limited to 8 points. So if you wanted to get the most perks in terms of, how many points they're actually worth, you could go for something like this. Pick Deadeye, Danger Close, and, Off the Grid, and fill up the Specialist bonus. Notice that by selecting expensive perks first, the Specialist package is giving us a total of 20 points to spend on perks, which is exceptionally high. However, the downside here is that you take many more kills to actually get those perks, and the Specialist bonus only comes in at the high 17 kills, as opposed to 8 or 10 or something like that. A different but more useful approach may be to actually get the initial perks and Specialist bonus quickly. Notice that if we pick, let's say, cheap 1-point perks as our initial ones, the Specialist bonus is now earned at 8 kills. The problem here is that, well, 1-point perks aren't very useful, especially for a sniper, so let me show you a little trick I actually used to get what I wanted. It's easier to show you what I mean, so if you were to select 3 2-point perks like we did at first, the Specialist bonus is again at 11 kills. However, after selecting all of the perks, we can go back and remove one of the initial perks. All you do is go back to the perk and press A or X. So what happens is the game takes this into account and lowers the kills necessary for your Specialist bonus. This is a trick I used to get the perks I wanted most, especially if you don't want the most expensive ones. Notice that we can select, let's say, 2 2-point perks and still get our Specialist bonus at only 8 kills. Now the downside here may look like you're giving up a perk, which is kind of true, but it's really no different than picking a more expensive perk at the expense of cheaper ones. So the benefit of giving up an initial perk is that you'll receive your entire Specialist bonus sooner, after fewer kills. Also keep in mind that if you do give up a perk, you also save the +1 kill. To show you this, what I mean is, for example, if you take 3 1-point perks, as we did at some point, your Specialist comes in at 8 kills, because we add 1 kill to each of the 1-point perks, which becomes 6 kills overall to get the first 3, plus 2 to get your Specialist bonus 8. At the same time, if we only take the exact opposite approach and say only take Deadeye as our initial perk, we still get the Specialist bonus at 8. Now here, notice that we have a 5-point perk versus 3 1-point perks, and we're still getting the Specialist bonus at the same time. The way the Deadeye one is calculated, of course, is 5 points for the actual perk, plus 1 is 6, and then since we haven't selected any other perks, the Specialist bonus would come in 2 points after or 2 kills later at 8. So you can see how you can actually use this to your advantage. And of course, you don't have to shoot for the Specialist bonus to come at 8. You can have it come in at 9 or 10, whatever fits you the best. And that's the whole beauty of the Specialist package. It's so customizable. You can do anything you want with it. Now, something, for example, I did early on, especially when I didn't have a lot of the perks, was I would take 2 2-point perks. Like, for example, sleight of hand, or focus, or something like that, which would then give me the specialist bonus at only 8 points, which would then give me a whole other set of perks, like for example, off the grid, blast shield, tack resist, something like that. Anyway, I'll be discussing the actual perks I choose for my classes in one of my next videos, because I'm trying to get a few of these things like Specialist and Ready Up and so on out of the way. But if you guys are curious, stick around for that one. And if you made it this far and you find this video useful, then please consider leaving a like, because it helps these videos out a lot and it's thoroughly appreciated. But anyway, thanks for watching guys, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.